Hello, everybody. This is Letters to Ewan 49. I'm certain. Dear Ewan, I had an interesting interaction the Friday of the immersion that I thought would make you giggle and feel good. I was shadow hunted. I was in some tension with one of my friends, and another guy looked like he was making us into his parents. He was quite alive, and I tend to let that play out without trying to shut him down. I knew it was at least about him, and I'm always open to how it can be about me. It's hard to remember now as I sit in the backlog of letters needing to be written, but he or somebody else asked me if I was angry. I didn't think I felt angry. I like anger. It's my fire. It's my first step through freeze. I just felt clear. And then somebody asked if I was certain. This is such an interesting place because I've spent years doubting myself, keeping myself open to the fact that the totality is unknowable, or at least only knowable by my participation as a part of it. A lot of relational artists understand this. We come to this place to relate, and we've been in the world that values us knowing ourselves. And then we see that there's always more underneath. In an attempt to head this embarrassing, you don't know yourself off at the pass, we cut ourselves with doubt, sometimes for years. It makes sense if reality was only linear. I find myself constantly seeing that there's more and then preemptively invalidate what I do see. I'm going to read that again. I find myself constantly seeing that there's more and then preemptively invalidate what I do see. What's really happening is that I'm working out my muscle of openness and totally skipping the leg day of admit what I know. I'm going to explain that just a little bit. It's like there's a muscle of of learning how to be open, and that's not in contrast to admitting that I do know things. My being knows things, especially ones it's experienced. Writing to you is some kind of balance between the two. It's because I know you won't hit me for making a mistake in my knowing that I've found this new balance. It's really important as a relational arts leader to remind the people that come that they know stuff. They know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of stuff in the moment, and their bodies hold testimonies of all they've ever seen. Testimony, where we have to take something's word for something. My body saw something and had the experience, and probably even saw all the math that added up to it making sense. But my brain can't go back in time and check the math every time. So I have to listen to the testimony, the part that came after the equal sign. Doubt really erodes our ability to notice testimony. That's really good when the testimony was, no one is trustworthy, and really bad when the testimony was, you are loved. So everybody's looking at me and they want to know if I'm certain that I'm not angry. And it just came out of my mouth. Quote, I'm certain My hand was upraised with one finger pointing up. That there is no certainty. That there is no certainty. And I am loved. And I am loved. I giggled. I am certain there is no certainty, and I am loved. It's so funny and beautiful and calming. It makes so much sense. I can feel the math in my body. But as I sit here wanting to tell you about it, the math looks confusing, like counting water molecules in a river. There's a little room to play here. I am certain there is no certainty, and because, the tricky part, there is no certainty, I know that I am loved. There's a because in there. Because it's always moving, the thing that stays still is different. Because it's always still, the thing that wiggles is significant. We know the tricks of the mind, and it's very difficult to build up enough self-trust and lead ourselves into enough meaninglessness for the sheer between the two to add up to. That was love. This is love. I am in relationship with love. I am loved. I am love? Uh-oh. Too far. I can't show the math for that one. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. My friends Jane and Fabiola were there, and we all know when one of us is solid or shaky. Solid isn't a goal, but it's notable when it's there. I couldn't see the math, but my body was declaring it was true. Confidence isn't about not being afraid. It's about having fidelity with what we've seen. I had the math all worked out long before I met you, Ewan. But my body needed that last little push of your presence, your testimony to get through. Thank you for existing, Mike.